Teacher knowledge and behavior is the component of the model that focuses on teachers' knowledge of students and content and on their expertise in classroom management and pedagogy. Teacher knowledge is the element of teacher knowledge and behavior that encompasses knowledge of student characteristics and teachers' in-depth content knowledge, and the blending of these to enhance learning. More information on this can be found in the Technology as Facilitator of Quality Education model. The students in this 5th grade language arts class are beginning a unit on Shakespeare. The teacher demonstrates knowledge of student characteristics by playing a short video clip of one of Shakespeare's plays. The students use their visual spatial intelligence to make sense of the unfamiliar language they encounter.
This is going to be the exact same scene. We'll see if it makes any more sense now that you can actually see the people and what they're talking about.
The teacher encourages the students to interpret the scene by discussing the characters, the setting, and the plot. The teacher's in-depth content knowledge is evident in her method of instruction. She uses questioning as a technique to guide the students through the discussion.
Okay, so what's going on? Alex.
Right at the end there, Juliet finds out that Romeo is there because he yells out or something.
And could you exactly understand the words that he said and what they meant? No. But you could kind of tell what was going on, right? Because you could see their faces and you could kind of see where they were at in relationship to each other. So where were they? Where did this scene take place? Cameron.
A castle.
Kind of a castle. Is it inside or outside?
Outside.
Outside, right? Kind of on a balcony. Do they hate each other? Or are they friends? Or what do you think, Brooke?
They like each other.
They like each other. Do they just like each other? No. How do they feel about each other, Taylor?
They love each other.
They love each other, exactly. And you didn't actually hear them say, you didn't actually hear Romeo say, "Oh, Juliet, I love you," but you knew that he was in love with her. How did you know that? Beth.
Because he was spying on her.
He was spying on her. How else did you know, Jared?
Because he was talking all that mushy talk.
He was talking mushy talk. You could just tell by the way that he said his words that he was saying them softly and very intensely, and probably that he was in love with her. So good job.
The students have to work with a partner to write a report on Shakespeare. Before the students begin their research, the teacher asks them to describe some of the elements of successful group work. The teacher demonstrates knowledge of student characteristics by addressing her students' interpersonal intelligence.
You are going to work with someone else in this class. So tell me something that I should see from you if you're working with a partner. Something that I should see. Kyle.
Partnership.
Partnership. What do you mean by that, though?
Helping your partner.
Helping your partner. Should I see a lot of arguing?
No.
No. You can debate and you can discuss, but I shouldn't see a lot of arguing or a lot of, you did this wrong or you should be doing this, but instead maybe talk about how you can work on things together. Okay, Justin, something else.
Kind of like whisper.
Whisper. We want to make sure that we're talking, though, today, right? You want to talk a lot with your partner to make sure that they know what you're thinking and you know what they're thinking. Good ideas.
The teacher introduces the students to the web quest she has created for their unit on Shakespeare. The teacher's in-depth content knowledge is evident in her use of discovery learning as a method of instruction. The web quest allows the students to search for and use the information that they find relevant.
Okay, this is our web quest. This is what I designed for us to use to study Shakespeare. This is our home page, so if you ever click on this button right here that says home, that's exactly where you'll get. Why don't we all read all these buttons over here on the side together? Okay, here we go. Home, introduction, the task, the process, evaluation, conclusion, credits and references, and teacher page. This says websites to use to gather information. So all these things underneath here are all websites, and these are the names of the websites. And these are what are called hot links. So if you put your mouse over them, you get the hand, which means you can click on it, and it'll take you directly to that website. Now don't do that yet. We'll do that in just a few minutes. Down below it says books to use to gather information. And we have the Young Person's Guide to Shakespeare, which is right here, and The World of Shakespeare, which is this black book up here. And then the new book of knowledge, those are the encyclopedias that Mrs. Reinhardt has in her classroom. So we can use those too. So you can use the websites or these books to gather information.
The teacher reviews the definitions of inferential questions and factual questions. Then the students write their own inferential and factual questions about William Shakespeare. They use the questions to guide their research. The teacher uses inquiry as a method of instruction. She encourages the students to use active inquiry to draw conclusions. This demonstrates the teacher's in-depth content knowledge. In addition, the teacher adapts the concepts of inferential and factual questions by relating them to a familiar topic. This process of transformation makes concepts easier for students to understand.
You're right, and there are two types of questions we're going to talk about. There are factual questions and inferential questions. What's a factual question? Colton, what's a factual question?
One that you've read and you know it's true.
Exactly. You can find the answer to that question very easily. You can see it written someplace. How many of you have read Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? All right. If I ask the question, what were the names of the seven dwarfs? Could you find that if you were actually reading the story? Okay, so that would be a factual question because you can actually read the information to figure out where it's at. What about an inferential question? One idea that I came up with for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is the question, which dwarf was Snow White's favorite? Does it ever say in the book that Happy is Snow White's favorite dwarf? Or that Doc is Snow White's favorite dwarf? No. But you could probably find some things in the story that give you an idea about which dwarf is Snow White's favorite, right? Maybe it says that Snow White always smiles at Sleepy. Or that she always makes Doc's bed first, or something like that. And so you can come up with some arguments about why you think that a certain dwarf is Snow White's favorite, but there may not be one exact right answer, right? Okay, so what are some factual questions you can think of for William Shakespeare? A factual question, something that's pretty basic that you can probably read in one of those websites and it gives you the information. Beth?
His childhood?
What about his childhood, though? I need an actual question.
Born and where he lived.
Okay, when was Shakespeare born?
The teacher shows the students how to use the WebQuest to access the rubrics she will use to assess the assignments in this unit. The teacher also discusses the specific criteria that will be used to evaluate their reports on Shakespeare. The process of evaluation is a component of the teacher's in-depth content knowledge.
4 main things that I'm going to be looking for in your report. And if you want to get 1 point on students use pre-writing skills or their outline properly, all you have to do is include a few main ideas and very little details. That's all you have to do. But if you want to get all 4 points, then it says students included all main ideas and all details. Now what do you think? Do you want to get 1 point or 4 points? 4 points, exactly.
The students use the knowledge they obtain through the WebQuest to write and perform plays. The students use their visual spatial intelligence to design props, scenery, and costumes. They use their bodily kinesthetic intelligence when they act out their plays. The teacher demonstrates knowledge of student characteristics by addressing her students' multiple intelligences. The students also use their verbal linguistic intelligence to memorize and recite their lines, and they use their musical rhythmic intelligence to select appropriate music to accompany their plays. This further demonstrates the teacher's knowledge of student characteristics.
Do you take this wonderful woman as your wife? If so, please say I do. I do. And do you take this man as your husband? If so, please say I do. I do. Now I pronounce you husband and wife. You may have the bride.
The teacher's in-depth content knowledge is evident in the new comprehension she gained by teaching this unit. She discusses how she has adapted this lesson based on previous experience. The teacher had previously taught the lesson to another 5th grade class. After reflecting on the strengths and weaknesses of the lesson, the teacher made changes to improve her students' learning.
This is actually the second time I've taught it, but the first time with these students. And when I taught it just a couple of days ago, I noticed that the students were having a hard time focusing on specific information and focusing on specific questions. So I had the students write down which questions they were going to be answering first before they really started doing a lot of their research. So they were a lot more focused and a lot more on task rather than just kind of randomly looking through different websites.